Will and Share, and in the face of truth. I'm Will. This is Share, and we're not afraid to share the truth with you here on our program. Tonight, we are going to continue with spreading Black history as they're trying to kill it here in America, do away with it, but we won't let them. We are going to give you Black history every week, a person of importance in our Black history legacy that they're trying to erase, and also keep you up on the current events that deal with African American community, with Black people. And we also want to keep America informed as far as our voting coming up, especially our Black men and women, our young Black men and women, and the Black community all together. Tonight we are going to be learning about Marcus Garvey. And we have Sharr here that's going to bring us that lesson. And then I'll be along later with our current events. Go ahead, Sharr. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we look forward to it.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. As Will already said, welcome to our platform here at In the Face of Truth. Tonight, our topic is going to be on Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr. And then we're also going to come to you with our current event tonight, and it's going to be an update on the war between the United States and Iran, okay? And so Will is going to come to you in just a little bit with that, and he's also going to help out with the Marcus Mosiah Garvey topic that we're doing tonight as well. So welcome again. So Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr. was one of the most influential and controversial Black leaders of the 20th century. His ideas about Black pride, economic independence, and Pan-African unity inspired millions around the world and is still inspiring people of color and other people today. So we want to remember that. Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr.'s early life from 1887 to 1909. Marcus Garvey was born on August 17, 1887 in St. Anne's Bay, Jamaica, then a British colony. His parents, Marcus Garvey Sr., a stonemason with a large personal library, and Sarah Jane Richards, a domestic worker. Garvey loved books from a young age. Although his family was not wealthy, his father's library exposed him to history, politics, philosophy, and religion. As a teenager, he appreciated as a printer. The printing trade helped him become an excellent writer and a public speaker. While working in Jamaica, he saw firsthand how Black workers were treated unfairly under colonial rule. Again, Will and I, we stress here on our platform for parents, for mothers, for fathers to push with their Black children, reading and reading history and teaching them their history, getting into books, okay? And starting them young, starting them early to learn how to read. That's so important and it's so efficient because we remember back when there was a time that we didn't even have the opportunity to be able to read books, okay? So during slavery, we weren't allowed to get into books and to be able to read books. And so it's very important that our Black children learn how to read at a very early age in their life. And that falls on the parents. It starts in the home, okay? And so we want to push that, just like Marcus Garvey's father. He taught him politics. He taught him how to read. He taught him philosophy, and he also taught him religion, okay? And so we have to set the example, parents, in our homes, okay? When it comes to our children learning, okay? We shouldn't wait until they go off to school and they get into preschool and they get into kindergarten. That's something that we want to start them early on, and we want to get them to love to read, okay? Is that right, Will?
Yeah, like I said last week, most of these civil active rights leaders, men and women, reading was an important part of their legacy. And you have to read in order to get educated and know what's going on.
Yes.
I think also interesting with this with Marcus Garvey is not only was he an activist for civil rights in America, but he was one of the Pan-Africanists. So he was looking out for the African people also as we get more into it.
Yes. Very good point, Will. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to go on with his travels and his the awakening. In his 20s, Marcus Garvey traveled through Costa Rica, Panama, Nicaragua, and Honduras, Ecuador, and England. So he was a vivid traveler, okay? Everywhere he went, he witnessed discrimination against people of African descent. While in London, he read works by Black intellectuals and studied African history. These experiences convinced him that people of African ancestry around the world shared common struggles. So we see that in his travel adventures and whatnot have you, that he witnessed firsthand the discrimination against people of African descent. And it's true, it's all over the world. It's back here in America. We're living in a time here in 2026 where we have a president, where we have those that are in office in this administration that have pushed tearing down our civil rights, taking us back 100 years from where we came from, where our ancestors fought, and some of them died, for our civil rights and our civil liberties. So here we are back at that. Okay, so we're back in the fight again, you guys, and so we got to step up to the plate, just like Marcus Garvey saw what was going on, the discrepancies and the wrongful acts that was being portrayed against Black people, against African people. So we're seeing that today in the Deep South. We have the Jim Crow laws that are put back in place where Blacks can't drink from the same water faucet. We have the Jim Crow laws put back in place where Blacks cannot use the same restroom that whites use. Yes, we're back in the fight again. And it's important for us as Black people and African people to stand up for what's right, to speak out about what's right and what's wrong. And we should not be afraid to do so, okay? Because our voice is our power. Our vote is our power. Our people lay down their lives for us to be able to vote, okay? There's so many people that were killed trying to push Black people, being a Black man and Black women being able to vote, Will. And I think we need to pick up that baton and we need to run with it in this country at this time that we are in right now, okay? So, Will, what do you say about that?
I agree with you on that. That's very well said.
Thank you, Will. Okay, so founding the UNIA. In 1914, Marcus Garvey founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League, usually called the UNIA. Its goals included promoting Black pride, encouraging economic independence, supporting African self-determination, building businesses owned by Black people, and uniting people of African descent worldwide. Its motto became one God, one aim, and one destiny. I love that. Okay. And so this is what this is one of the organizations that he built and that he brought up, the Universal Negro Improvement Association. And the African Communities League. So the UNIA. Okay.
I'm glad to see you put God in that.
Yes, I love that.
We need to keep God in it.
Yes, we do. So we as a Black people, we need to come together. We need to stop fighting one another. We need to learn how to love one another, and we need to come together, and we need to put our heads together and be able to stand up and fight for our civil rights, fight for our freedoms here in America that are being stripped away on a daily basis through this administration and through this president. We cannot sit down and think somebody else is going to do the work. We have to get up and do the work, just like Marcus Garvey did. Okay. So I love his motto, and we can continue to carry his motto on as well. One God, one aim, and one destiny. And that's what we should be working toward. Amen. So his move to the United States. In 1916, Garvey moved to the United States. He eventually settled in Harlem, New York, where the UNI grew rapidly. After World War I, thousands of African Americans were looking for leadership as racial violence and segregation remained widespread. Garvey's speeches attracted enormous crowds, a worldwide movement. By the early 1920s, the UNIA had become one of the largest organizations of people of African descent in history. Membership reached into the United States, the Caribbean, Central America, South America, Europe, and Africa. Some estimates place membership and supporters in the millions, though exact numbers remain debated by historians. The organization published the newspaper The Negro World, which circulated internationally despite being banned in some colonies. Okay? And so we see that his organization that he put together, the UNIA, that it grew by large numbers. Okay?
So I'm sensing that with all the success that he had, that the government is getting ready to come up against him. I'm just sensing that. Just don't know. We'll see as she goes on. But I have a feeling
Yes.
that with all the success he has, not just in the United States, but around the world,
Yes.
that a rat is brewing.
All right, now, come on, Will, that's the truth. You know, it doesn't matter. Whatever black people try to band together, whenever black people try to stand up and to speak out, you know, on the injustices and the issues that we face in this world, in this country, then a lot of times, yes, the government does try to step in and try to shut it down. Why is that? Why is it that white people, these white groups, these white nationalists, the Ku Klux Klan, and all these other people can speak out about who they are freely, walk down the street with their hoods on, they don't get shut down for it? Why is it that they can speak out, but we as black people, when we stand up and speak out, they want to stop us, they want to shut us down, they want to cut us off of the social medias and whatnot have you? When all we're doing is pushing back against the injustices and the inequalities. We're not doing anything violent, okay? We're not trying to stir up a riot or anything like that, but we're speaking out against the wrongs, the wrong deeds that are being done to our black American people, our black African people, okay? And so it's wrong in this country and around the world for a lot of these places to shut down black people when we're speaking out and when we're standing up, okay? And when we're trying to handle business when it comes to our pushing back against the things that this country and other countries are trying to push on black people, trying to shut down the mouths of black people, trying to stop our black history. So we have that right. We have rights in this country, and we need to use the rights that we have to be able to speak out, okay, before they try to take all of our rights away. And so that's what we're here for on In the Face of Truth. We're trying to tell our people to stand up and speak out. Come together so that you can brainstorm and we can come up with ideas to help one another in our communities. Our people are suffering. I have not seen so many black people out on the street nowadays that's out on the corners begging. It used to be mostly our white people that were out there on these corners and people from other countries, but now we have our black people out here. People are hurting. People don't have the health care that they used to have because of this administration gutting the health care. People don't have the food stamps that they need to feed their families because of this administration gutting food stamps. People don't have the housing, okay, affordable housing that they need because of this president gutting, okay, the housing. And so we need to come together. Our people, black people, wake up, stand up, speak out, and most of all, get out and vote in these midterms. Put your vote in, and let's get these people out of office that are doing us harm for no reason. Okay? What do you think, Will?
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Okay. So let's go on to the Black Star Line. One of Garvey's most ambitious projects was the Black Star Line. He hoped it would carry passengers, transport goods, connect black businesses globally, and strengthen ties with Africa. Many ordinary black people invested their savings, and unfortunately, the company suffered from poor management, expensive ship repairs, inexperienced leadership, financial difficulties, and fraud. by some associates. Eventually, the business collapsed. See, this is where we need to not only come together and speak out and speak up and stand up and also put our vote in and get out and vote come the midterms. But we need to find people that are efficient, people that have the skills to be able to do certain jobs, because this business should have never failed that he started. Had he had the right people to do their jobs, okay? And so we got to come together and find out and find the people that have those skills, okay, to be able to build up an organization. Black people, it's time to have something for ourselves, okay, in this country of America, because they don't care about us. They don't care that we don't have what we need. They don't care that we're going without, the basic necessities. And we just want to stop for a minute and we want to say hi to everybody that has joined us. We want to say hi to Pachka. We want to say hi to S. Duque. I don't pronounce the names good, so I'm sorry for that. Bavilia Didhido. Okay, we want to say hi to you, and we just want to welcome you to our program, okay? So again, when we're building something, when we're trying to come together to have something as a Black people, we got to make sure we have people that have skills. We got to make sure we have people that have been to college, that know the occupation, that knows the business, okay? That's very, very, very important. All right? So back to Africa. Garvey became famous for advocating what became known as the Back to Africa movement. This idea is often misunderstood. He did not believe every Black person had to leave the Americas. Instead, he argued that Africa should become politically and economically strong. People of African descent should have a homeland capable of protecting Black people, okay? And so that's very important. All right, so he had disagreements with other Black leaders, and we've learned that about a lot of our leaders, how some of them didn't agree with one another as far as their prospect or perspective and what they were standing for. So Garvey and W.E.B. Du Bois strongly disagreed. Du Bois favored pursuing civil rights, higher education, and integration through legal and political means. Garvey emphasized Black nationalism, separate economic development, and Pan-African unity. Their public disagreements became intense. I'm sorry about that. And each criticized the other's leadership and strategy. We said this before on In the Face of Truth, and that is to our Black people, we can agree to disagree, but we should not fall out about anything, because all of us are basically in the same boat, okay? Now, we know there are those that don't see things the way we see them right now. We know that there are proportionally probably about 1 million of our Black people that voted for this president that's in office right now and are still standing by him. But the damage that it is doing to our Black people, the damage that it's doing to our communities, the damage that it is doing to our future generation, okay? And that is what's happening with this Project 2025, with this Trump Agenda 47 or whatever he calls it, okay? It's doing damage to Black communities. And it's a shame that all of our Black people can't get on the same page and see the wrong that is being done, the things that are being torn down, the removal of Black history. He even, I believe it was on the news not too long ago, where he's talking about going to the Smithsonian and changing some things in the Smithsonian that relates to Black people and what they accomplish. It doesn't even make sense what's going on in this country. And again, we have every right to speak up, to speak out, and to go vote, okay? And to let them know that we are against what's going on. It's wrong. All right, Will?
Correct.
All right, so I'm going to let Will read. It's his turn. I have to take a break from it. Thank you, Will.
His famous prophecy. One quotation often attributed to the Garvey is, "Look to Africa, when a Black king shall be crowned, for the day of deliverance is near." This statement became especially significant after Haile Selassie was crowned Emperor of Ethiopia in 1930.
Yes.
Some followers interpreted Selassie's coronation as fulfilling Garvey's words. However, historians debate the exact wording and context of the quotation because no definitive contemporary transcript has been found. His writings. Garvey was also a prolific writer.
Yes.
Among his best-known works are The Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey and numerous editorials in the Negro world. The writings continue to be studied by historians and advocates of Pan-Africanism. Interest in those who wish to see there should have the opportunity. His emphasis was on global African unity and self-determination. Black pride. Long before the modern civil rights movement, Garvey taught that black is beautiful. Learn African history, build black-owned businesses, support black education, and develop political independence. These ideas profoundly influenced the later generation. And I think that was what we were doing.
Yes.
When we look at all of the communities that the black people built, the white people came and tore down.
Yes, they did.
So that's why a lot of civil rights leaders agreed to have separate communities, and some said we need to integrate.
Yes.
So it was something between a rock and a hard place.
Yes, it was.
Legal troubles. What do you think of that?
I agree with what you said. I mean, I love the idea where it says that long before the modern civil rights movement, Garvey taught that black is beautiful. And first thing that we need to do as a black people is we need to accept who we are. We need to love who we are as a people, okay? And not be ashamed of our blackness, okay? Our blackness comes from God. That's how he made us. That's how he created us. And like Garvey said, black is beautiful, okay? And the fact that he wanted his people, he wanted black people to learn African history. That's important to learn African history because there's a lot of stuff that's going on in Africa that affects us here. Those of us here that are in America, believe it or not. I love the movement that's going on right now in Africa with President Traore, okay? And how a lot of the African people are coming together and standing up against colonialism, and how they're trying to have their own, okay, one Africa. And that's how it should be. It's not good that our white counterparts can go into another country and take whatever they want to, like we see going on here in America with this president that went into Venezuela and took their president and took his wife and brought them back and put them in jail here. They've gone into other countries to take whatever it is they want to take. That's nothing but greediness. Is all about the oil, and it is all about the sources that are in these countries. And that is why the colonizers keep going into them and pillaging a lot of these countries and taking what they want to take. And that's wrong. God is going to deal with America. God is going to deal with our president. God is going to deal with the wrong that is being done to black people, to African people, to the poor, to the needy. God is going to, he's going to deal with that. He's going to deal with all of it. Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about the legal troubles of Marcus Garvey. In 1923, Garvey was convicted of mail fraud related to the sale of Black Star Line stock. He maintained his innocence, arguing that he was being targeted because of his movement. Historians continue to debate aspects of the case. While the conviction stood at the time, many scholars note irregularities and the broader political climate surrounding the prosecution. He served about 2 years in prison before his sentence was commuted by U.S. President Calvin Coolidge, and Garvey was then deported. Okay? And so we see now that Marcus Garvey, because of his stance, because of his ideologies, now they were bringing charges against him and trying to convict him for mail fraud, of which he stood his ground, saying that he was innocent of, okay? Regardless of what historians believe or think, it's always been like that with the black man in the country of America and in other countries, okay? If we can't get them one way to sit down and shut up, then we're going to come another way. And so this was a plot to stop him. basically, from doing what he was doing. I believe they were afraid because the movement was growing. Okay. And so now they came up with an idea to try to undermine him. And pretty much that's exactly what it is. Look at this young man that just lost his job on ESPN. Was it ESPN? Okay. And how they let him go and fired him for none other than what? Than him being a black man. This country is known to keep our black men down, to try to keep black men under their feet. And the same thing was happening to Marcus Garvey, okay? So he served 2 years in prison before his sentence was commuted by U.S. President Calvin Coolidge. And then he was deported to, I believe it was Jamaica, if I'm not mistaken, in 1927, okay? So his posthumous pardon. Let's talk about his posthumous pardon. For many years, supporters argued that Garvey's 1923 mail fraud conviction was unjust. In January of 2025, the United States President Joe Biden issued a posthumous presidential pardon for Marcus Garvey. Let's say that again, okay? So in January 2025, the United States President Joe Biden issued a posthumous presidential pardon for Marcus Garvey. Supporters viewed the pardon as recognition that his prosecution had long been regarded as unfair, while legal historians note that a pardon forgives a federal offense but does not erase the historical conviction itself. Okay, so let's talk about this, Will, for a minute. We have a president in the White House right now that has pardoned all of those that stormed the Capitol on January the 6th. Not only did he pardon their convictions, okay? So this is saying that even though President Joe Biden pardoned the conviction of Marcus Garvey, historians believe that, while legal historians, they believe that a pardon forgives a federal offense, but does not erase the historical conviction itself, okay? And so we see that these people that the president today, President Donald Trump, pardoned from the January 6th rioters, got them all out of jail, set them free and what not have you, erased their conviction history. Now many of them are back in prison. My God. Here Joe Biden did a beautiful work on behalf of a black man, and that was Marcus Garvey, who was wrongfully convicted of something that he did not do. And I'll stress that again. The ones that stormed the Capitol on January 6th, they did that, and it was wrong what they did, because police officers, I believe, one of them died. Some of them were were hurt very badly, and now we have a country that has turned its back on in the face of truth. Truth, y'all, come on. These people did not deserve to be pardoned when they committed an ill crime against the United States of America. But Marcus Garvey, a black man, deserved to be pardoned because he was innocent of the charges that were brought against him. My goodness, how we have fallen, how America has fallen from truth to lies, to these lies. Okay? And God help us.
And it shows systemic racism was from the founding of this country, and it is still there today.
Yes, that's right. All right, so let's move on. So he was sent to Jamaica in 1927, okay? So his later years, back in Jamaica, Garvey remained active in politics and journalism. He later moved to London, where he continued writing and speaking despite his declining health. He died in London on June 10th, 1940, after suffering strokes. He was 52 years old. So the return to Jamaica. In 1964, Jamaica declared Garvey its first national hero. His remains were returned to Jamaica and re-entered at the National Heroes Park. His legacy. Marcus Garvey's influence has been immense. He inspired later Pan-African movements, Black economic empowerment efforts, independence leaders in Africa and the Caribbean, and advocates of Black pride and self-reliance leaders and thinkers influenced by Garvey included Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, Malcolm X, whose parents were active Garveyites, and Martin Luther King Jr., who praised Garvey's role in awakening Black pride even while pursuing different strategies. My goodness, this man, one man, touched so many people in the work that he was doing, okay, with the Pan-Africanism and trying to gather Black Americans and also African people together, because he understood that the struggle was the same for all of us. Isn't that something? Okay. You have something you want to add?
Oh, I was just agreeing with what you were saying.
Yes. So why Marcus Garvey matters today? Garvey remains one of history's most influential Black leaders because he challenged millions of people to value their heritage, pursue economic independence, organize globally, and believe in their own worth and leadership. At the same time, historians continue to debate some aspects of his leadership, including his political tactics, business decisions, and his controversial 1922 meeting with members of the Ku Klux Klan. I can never say that right, Will.
They don't deserve
All
it.
right, so he met with the Ku Klux Klan, okay? Garvey said he met with them because he believed racial separation was preferable to hypocrisy. But the meeting drew sharp criticism from many Black leaders of his day. His life remains a powerful example of how one person's vision can inspire a worldwide movement, even amid significant successes, failures, and controversies. I kind of love the fact that he took the time out to meet with the Ku Klux Klan, okay? And I say this because I believe that people that are racist, and the Ku Klux Klan was racist, it's the truth. People who are racist do not understand the struggles that Black people face, okay? And it's many of them that put us through the struggles because of their racism. That's the only way to look at it. And so I believe that when we learn how to respect one another, you know, not just because of the color of our skin, but the content of our character. Marcus Garvey could be respected for stepping up to the plate and sitting down and having a talk. And a lot of times that's basically what we need, is to get around the round table and talk to each other and express to each other. But in this atmosphere, this toxic atmosphere that we're in right now today, we can't even sit down and have a talk with the so-called MAGA people, with the so-called president that's hating on Blacks for no apparent reason. There's no cause for it. There's good in every race and there is bad in every race. And I said this on a couple of our other shows, okay? There's good and bad in every race. You can't put everybody in the same basket, okay? And so we need to learn how to get along in spite of it all, in spite of the color of our skin. We need to learn how to get along, because we are better for it when we learn how to get along with one another and with others, okay? Okay. Why historians still study him? Marcus Garvey remains one of the most influential figures in Black history because he combined several ideas that were unusual for his time. A global vision of African unity or Pan-Africanism, economic independence through Black-owned businesses, pride in African heritage, institution building through newspapers, schools, businesses, and organizations, and a belief that people of African descent could shape their own future rather than wait for equality to be granted. His legacy is both celebrated and debated. Admirers credit him with awakening a sense of dignity, identity, and global solidarity among millions of people of African descent. Critics point to the failure of some of his business ventures and certain political decisions. Taken together, Marcus Garvey's life reflects both extraordinary ambition and the complexities of leading a worldwide movement during an era of entrenched racism and colonial rule. Okay? Okay. So we have those that honor and respect what Marcus Garvey was trying to do, and then we have the critics who want to look at the failures. All of us have failures, okay, in our life when we're trying to accomplish something, but we don't have to let those failures have us. Just because you fail at one thing doesn't mean that you should stop, that you should throw in the towel, that you should give up. Marcus Garvey kept going, okay, and now his legacy is long lasting. And so we want to put our hands together and say, great job, Marcus Mosiah Garvey Jr., okay? He did a wonderful job standing up for what he knew was right and fighting for what he knew was right. You can read it.
It says, you have more in common with any white person in America than the whole country of Africa. No, we don't. Okay, very ignorant comment. All right, so we want to go ahead and do our, what are we doing, our three Marcus
Garvey quotes.
Sorry, we had to have that migraine headache, give that very ignorant comment. But Black people in America, we have more in common with our African nations because they are going through the same things we're going through today. There's nothing but white privilege here in America, and we have no white privilege in the thing. How have you ever lived? I don't need to live in Africa because I live in America. Thank you, migraine headache. Let's continue now.
Okay, so our three Marcus Garvey quotes. The first one is, the ends you serve that are selfish will take you no further than yourself. These are quotes by Marcus Garvey himself. But the ends you serve that are for all in common will take you into eternity. And I believe that goes back to the golden rule of the Bible, where it talks about that we are to do unto others as we would have, them to do unto us. Okay, we need to treat people the way that we want to be treated. Okay, all right. Nobody wants to be stepped on. Nobody wants to be run into the ground. And Black people have been that and so much more for years. And now we're back at that same place in society, and it doesn't even make any sense. Okay, and so the second one says, quote, a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. And so he's really Marcus Garvey is really expressing to us the importance of knowing our own history. Okay, and our history goes beyond, it spans beyond what we've gone through in this country. When with the transatlantic slave ship, from the time that Blacks were brought over, and it was before that. We go way, way, way back. Hello, somebody. Way, way, way back to empires, to princes, to kings that we've come out of. And so we need to understand our history. We need to learn of our own history, our origin, and our culture. Okay? Because if we don't, we are like a tree without roots. And so Will's going to give us the last one.
It says, let no voice but your own speak to you from the depths. Let no influence but your own raise you in time of peace and of war. Hear all, but attend only that which concerns you.
That's good. I love his quotes. And he's got so many more quotes out there that are so inspiring and so encouraging. And you can go and look those up, okay? They are on, I believe it's on, what's the page that you'd like to go to on Google? Yes, a lot of his quotes are there.
Oh, you're talking about Google Sarah?
Yes, all those things.
What do they call? Oh, no, Alexa.
Yes, okay, so you can pull up his quotes. I love his quotes. All right, so 3 things to remember that we took away from Marcus Garvey's story, his legacy, and his history. The first one is identify the problem, work towards a solution, stand in the gap for equality, justice, and civil rights for all people. Now, we do want to make this this clear, and that is we do understand that a lot of the things that our people have gone through, we've had other people that have helped us, white people, have stood in the gap for us, and we appreciate everything. The Quakers, I remember reading about the Quakers and the things that they did to help slaves to get free, to get to a place where they could go to a country where they would be able to, to live free. And so we've had help in times past. And so we are asking those of you out here that know what's going on with this administration, that know what's going on with the Project 2025 and how it's harming African American people, how it's harming our children and our grandchildren future, as far as history being taken out of school. They don't want to teach it in certain colleges and whatnot have you. Even in Florida with DeSantis, I call him DeSatan. And the things that he's pushing is against African American people. Yeah, we need y'all to stand with us, just like we have stood for a lot of you all when our ancestors and stuff fought in the civil rights movement. We need you to stand with us, and we will stand with you. Okay, because this shouldn't be a white or black thing. It should be a right and wrong thing. Okay. All right. So number 2, 3 things to remember. Historical documentation is not always factual or truthful documentation. And we say that because Marcus Garvey stood his ground on being innocent when false charges were brought up against him, and how he ended up being convicted and serving 2 years in prison for something he did not do. Okay. So, and then we have the historians fighting back at it, believing that it's not true, that he wasn't innocent. He was an innocent man, and I believe that he was innocent. Okay. So the third one is never give up the fight for freedom. Even though you're faced with a few setbacks, just carry on. Okay. So never give up the fight for freedom. Our democracy here in America is at stake. Okay. No one person, no one party has the right to push their ideology upon the nation as a whole. Okay. What is white nationalism? That's y'all thing. Don't push that on everybody else. Okay. No one person has the right to do that. God gave us all a free will. We have free wills because God gave it to us. Whether black, whether white, whether Asian, whether Latino, whether Mexican, whether Indian, God gave us all a free will spirit. Okay? And so now we're going to get ready for Will to come.
We're getting ready to have an interesting current event here because we got a couple of migraine headaches on here that were saying things, so I'm going to go ahead and address them in a little bit. So first of all, getting to our current event. What did I do here? Where you at? But anyway, one of our current events is the update on this U.S. and Iran war.
Yes.
And I think, trying to get back to our show here. Here we go. Okay, so I can get the comments that they're having on here. So, as y'all know, we're back in war with Iran. And because we have no strategy, we have an incompetent, low intelligent president. We have an incompetent, low intelligence Secretary of War. We have an incompetent, low intelligence Chief of Staff. They don't know what they're doing. It's been recognized on both sides, Republican and Democrat.
Yes.
MAGA, left, right, that they don't know what they're doing. They have no plan. And so I'm letting y'all know tonight, this is going to be a very long, ongoing war, America. Get ready for it. It's going to be a very long, ongoing war. The memorandum of understanding is gone. The ceasefire is gone. They're attacking more U.S. military bases, so it is expanding. And we're seeing more attacks now since Netanyahu has visited Trump in the White House. Did no report come out of what they discussed. But you're seeing now that Trump is saying, we're going to bomb more. We're going to do, but it has no strategy. What are they bombing? Again,
why are they bombing?
Yes. Why are they bombing this, where they're bombing at? Because they have no idea. Had we had Kamala Harris, Lloyd Austin, and Charles Brown in charge, we would have had a whole different thing.
That's right.
We would
It's
have
the
been
truth.
much better off.
Yes.
But because we have this incompetence here, they have no strategy, have no game plan that they can share with the American people. They won't share with the American people because they don't have one. So we need to buckle up. We're going to be in for the long haul. This war will not end soon. And then they did have a vote in the Senate for the Wars Powers Act that failed 49-50. We had 4 Republican senators that came over to the Democratic side to vote to put and rein in Trump. But we had our dino, John Fetterman, that went over to the Republican side and voted against it.
Yes.
So here we are. We so cannot wait till 2028 to get him out of office and get a true Democrat in there. So this is your update. So people get ready. We're going to be here for a while. Now also I wanted to bring up the NAACP, the Democratic the Congressional Black Caucus, and Ben Crump had a press conference today about the 3 young men that were drowned, and it was ruled that they unalived themselves as a suicide. No investigation. Well, now these people are coming together and saying, wait a minute, we're not accepting that.
That's right.
And now we are seeing a lot of facts coming in on all 3 of these cases that is indicating foul play and indicating that these majority white law enforcement officers did not do their job, and district attorneys are not doing their job.
That's right.
So they are forcing them now to open up these cases. They're getting pressure, not on these, but on all others that are going on. And they are forcing them to open up these cases and to investigate of what is going on. Okay? So now, of course, they're getting threats. Ben Crump, Al Sharpton, they're getting threats because they are opening up and they are letting them know, and they are giving the facts publicly.
Yes.
Publicly, the facts are coming out that they are not doing their jobs. They didn't do their jobs, and so as a result of that, they are getting threats. But they're not going to let that affect them.
Right.
They are going on. And it was good to see Joyce Beatty there. She's my representative. And she said that the Congressional Black Caucus is getting involved. And I say the Democratic Party needs to get involved. They've got 3 months to these midterms. They need to get involved out there and tell the black people what they're going to do about the Jim Crow, going back to Jim Crow, going back to the discrimination, to these things that the administration is going to do. They need to address that. I don't feel they have adequately addressed that. Okay? They have not adequately told us they're for the immigrants. They're talking about getting affordability and all that. But we also are seeing discrimination, racism, systemic racism, and they're not dealing with that. They're just now coming out with the transparency of these murders, especially down south. We know these are racially involved. We know that these people are not unaliving themselves. We know that there is foul play. So we need to bring attention to this, and the black people, Democratic Party, need to know where you stand.
Yes.
Where do you stand on the civil rights? Where do you stand on helping black people? Where do you stand on the wrong that's being done to black people? You've got 3 months to let us know.
Yes.
We're out here saying vote blue, but you've got to back us up. You've got to do your job too. Okay? So let's take a look at some of this before we go, Sharr, if you don't mind. You got a little bit of time?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. Keith Rice, 3841 says, I'm MAGA, let's talk. Yes, let's talk MAGA. MAGA is talking about putting black people in their place. MAGA is talking about getting rid of all the slave expositions and erasing black history. MAGA is talking about forgetting about how black Americans and how the slaveries were treated. Okay, MAGA does not want to talk about how blacks built this country. MAGA does not want to talk about how black people have been treated illegally, discriminated against. MAGA doesn't want to talk about the systemic racism.
That's right, Will.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
what do you want to talk about, MAGA? You're telling us that you need the president to come in another 2 years to fix the affordability problem and the economic problem. Fix what? You broke it.
That's right.
When Joe Biden took office, he had to inherit the mess that MAGA and your leader created.
That's true.
And he was fixing it, and it was going an upward trend. And then your leader got back in office again and messed it up. He's got this country in a mess. So what is there to fix? There wasn't nothing to fix. The only thing there was to fix was to put black people in their place. And you hear it all over social media that that's what MAGA was for. So there's our talk, MAGA. You have nothing to talk about. You made your stance clear. You want black people back in their place. You want people of color, immigrants deported back, while you want white immigrants to come. You want white people to control this country.
That's the truth.
Okay?
Face the truth.
You're trying to force black people to go back in the fields to work your farms. It's not happening. You want a civil war. You want to get rid of black people. So there's nothing to talk about, MAGA. You've made your stance clear. We understand it. We're not stupid. We know what you're about.
That's right.
There's nothing to talk about, MAGA. Now the other one says, this is still Keith, still the migraine headache, says you have more in common with any white person in America than the whole country of Africa. No, I don't. Because I will not go out with 4 or 5 of my black friends and one white person and go out and kill him. Or, I'm sorry, unalive him.
Yeah.
I will not do that. I did not lynch a person because of the color of their skin.
That's right.
Separate the families. Rip babies out of women. Whip them on their backs until their skin turned into jelly. Boarded their ears to a board.
That's right.
I did not use babies for alligator bait. I did not destroy a whole white community just because they were bettering themselves. I did not have systemic racism. I did not accuse a white man of disrespecting a black woman and having him killed and having a whole community killed.
That's right.
I don't have a mind frame like that. Only one race has that mind frame, and we do not have that in common. So no, we have it in common with the African people because they were run over back in the 1800s.
Yes.
When the European colonists decided to go over and split them up and piece them like a pie and cut them up and take over and treat them like dirt. Take their material. Treated Haiti, took all of their materials, took all their resources, bled them dry, and then tried to make them pay. And they're still affecting today. Africa is still feeling the effects of that today. And we have more in common with them because that's the way we are, and still being treated.
Yeah.
Still in the Constitution that we are 3/5 people. So no, we don't have anything in common with the white people. We have more in common with Africa. And you're saying that if you go to Africa to them, you're an American, not African.
That's not true.
And that's not true.
They're welcoming us.
They're welcoming us.
Yes.
Sorry, buddy. They're welcoming us. And he goes, have you ever lived in Africa? Like I said, I don't need to live in Africa. I live here in the United States of America. And I've experienced how the white people have treated me and how they treated black people. So
and still treating us.
And still treating us. So thank you, migraine headache. I gave more time to you than I should have, but out of respect for your comments, we had our talk. Case dismissed. All right. So now, thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed our program today. Don't forget, Sunday morning, 11:30, 11:45, our Sunday morning worship service. True Apostolic Holiness Church, where we
Yes.
praise and magnify our Lord and
Hallelujah.
Savior Jesus
That's
Christ.
right.
That's
Amen.
on Facebook. Tuesday night is our Bible study. We are in On Fire for Jesus, Bible study of True Apostolic Holiness Church. And we would like to tell you we are in Psalms 22.
Yes.
Long Psalm, so we're going to be taking it verse by verse, so join us on that. And we will put that up on YouTube after we finish getting it up on Facebook. And then next Thursday, we're back here within the face of Truth with Will and Share. So if you come across this on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe and share. So for Share, this is Will. Thank you for coming.
Thank
See
you all.
later.
Thanks for coming to In the Face of Truth. We
And-
hope you learned something tonight.
You're going to give a shout out to the Defiant Lawyer Network. Turn over to them.
Yes.
They have a special tonight on Jim Clyburn. He also covered the press conference of the Urban League, NAACP, and Ben Crump, and also the Democratic Black Caucus. So go over there and look at those shows and hit that like button for them and share it also and subscribe. God bless you.
Have a good evening. Thank you guys for coming.